All right, we're visiting with Danny Roy, the head coach of the GCU Antelopes, on our annual State of the Lopes. Danny, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Danny, we're talking a little bit today about not only the program last year, in its first full year of inception, basically, and we'll also talk about the future, but let's recap. How was last year for you?
It was a good building year for us. Definitely a lot of growing pains. It's expected for a first-year program. I think looking back on it, you could see the growth from the best example was when we played Arizona State's D2 club team at the beginning of the year. We played them in October, and they outshot us at least 3-1. The game was 8-2. We finished the year against them in February, and shots were dead even. The game was it was a really competitive game. I would say that we had a really good chance we should have won those games, or at least one of them. Just couldn't bury when we needed to. So over a course of a year, to at least see that the guys progress, got to learn how to at least play with each other, learn to play within our system, culture, things like that. It showed that growth against what's normally a really strong program.
So tell me a little bit about what the challenges are for you being a first-year program. That first year, you guys played in the men's league for the most part, just tried to get your feet wet. This year, you put everything together, and you had a chance to do some travel and different things. What are the biggest challenges you faced?
Maturity.
Yeah.
Player maturity was the biggest, and I'm not just saying like the guys like acting like kids, but more the on ice, in the locker room, on the road trips, things like that. We had a large amount of players that didn't come from a junior level, weren't mature juniors who came from a disciplined system. They came from teams like midget level where there's only 19, 18 players, where they're constantly in the lineup no matter what they did, as far as not showing up for practice or things like that, or how they played in the lineup. So it was a struggle on the mature side. There were games where we were up on teams, and then come out the next period, even though the guys knew exactly what we had to do. They just weren't, it was tough trying to, keep them ready. So, for a first year young program, I expected that though. That was one of my big bullet points on what to expect. It was just, it's frustrating to go through it when it's bound to happen.
So tell me some of the positive things. I know you guys had a chance to play at Gila River a couple times. You played up at Prescott Valley a couple times. So what were the positives of the program this season?
The biggest positive was just the group of guys. We couldn't have asked for a better group of guys as far as attitudes and things like that. Nobody really got in any kind of trouble that we had to deal with. Everybody enjoyed being around each other. I got a lot of comments as far as, how long have you guys been playing together? Because the guys seem like they've known each other forever. And that was great. They kept fighting, even though we were on the record wise we were struggling to get wins. But they stuck with it all year, and that's due to their attitudes. That was a huge positive. Obviously, going up and playing in Prescott Valley is always fun. That's a great arena and atmosphere up there. They treat you like a professional when you come there. It's like the arena is yours. So that's fun. And then working with the Coyotes. And getting the ice from them at Gila River was another huge positive. We had our first game there against NAU's D3 team in December. We had over 600 people show up, and we only promoted that game like the week of through our social media. The last game of the season that we played was ASU, their D2 club team. and we played them at Gila River, and we had over 1,200 show up, and that the university, the school, kind of backed the advertising for that game and stuff. So those were big positives. We're definitely going to do those again next year, hopefully against some other teams like University of Arizona. Trying to get them out there. It's just kind of waiting to see what the NHL schedule's like.
So when we talk about this season, obviously the growing pains and things like that, I'm sure that you've taken a lot of things from this past season and will use it towards this upcoming season. So let's talk a little bit about the upcoming season and what you plan on doing differently that maybe you didn't do this year.
Well, we're going to bring the guys in a little earlier. I mean, we can't bring them in too much earlier because where we start anyways is 3 weeks into the school semester. But we'll have our informational meeting right after our move-in week here. That way we could get everybody on board, not just our first team, but our second team and our women's team. Everybody will come in and get information on the program, what's expected. The following week, we'll actually have open ice slots for just kind of like an open pickup for all of our players to go skate, get to know each other a week ahead of time, and then camp's a little bit longer. We added 1 day to it, a few more, a little bit more time, like a couple more hours to it, to up the intensity, and we also added another day of practice for our top team. Now we're going, instead of 2 days a week, an hour and a half each day, or an hour each day, we're now going an hour and a half each day for 3 days a week. So we upped that. We're going 2 days a week off ice in the gym here on campus with our strength and conditioning coach, and we're also we'll have 1 day a week in a classroom setting here for video.
So we talked about numbers. Obviously, you guys had enough comfortably to field a team last year. I'm guessing the numbers are up again, aren't they? Yeah,
I mean, we had a lot going into camp, and what we ended up with was more due to a lot of freshman players worried about the school load on top of the hockey. Those kids have expressed that they are coming back, so we're adding them into the mix again. We have a lot of high school grads coming in, which is why that second team now is a reality. We hired a coach for that. He's also helping in the recruiting process, not just for that team, but also junior players. So yeah, the numbers are incredible. The support that our department is giving us. They actually hired a person in that department at mid-year to focus on all of our admissions, because there's a lot of students applying, getting accepted, registering for classes who have selected on their application that they're interested in hockey. A very large amount.
I'm sure that when you were back at your days at ASU, you thought that this could happen, but did you think it could happen this fast to this degree?
Yes and no. I mean, yeah, it's definitely exceeded my expectations. It's all due to the support that we get here. In the schools, club sports is on the same level as our NCAA sports as far as importance. Not necessarily on the same level, but as far as important to our student body, they see it as a really big thing here. So that's huge, and that's what's helping drive this. But it's taken a lot of work. It's a full-time job, which is, I love it. It's fun to me. I get to sit and talk hockey with everybody. I get to sit and meet players, parents, and just talk about the program on a daily basis.
So as I look behind you and I see the 2016-17 game schedule, and it's got GCU women's ice hockey, talk a little bit about that program and what's that's doing around campus. Yeah,
that's our head coach for that we hired, Natalie Rossi. She's doing a great job. She's getting out there, going to a lot of girl tournaments, contacting a ton of coaches for girls teams. She has about 9 girls committed already. There's a handful more of them set up for campus visits to come out here, and that's pretty much all they're waiting on before they choose to enroll in school. So, that's been a plan since I got here.
Right.
Since I had started here 2 years ago, is to always build a women's program here. It's nice to see now that it's happening, and she's kind of in the steps that we were last year, as far as, anticipation of finally getting the season going, and scheduling is going fairly well right now. That games are starting to roll in now here for that.
So as we look at your team again, you're going to have 2 teams this year. I'm guessing a D2 and a D3, or how will that work out?
It's set up right now for D2, D3. Our D2 team will have some scattered games in there with some D1 competition. But it'll be another competitive schedule of D2 games. We're playing more conference games this year. We only played 6 last year. We'll be closer to 12 now. So that's teams like Utah State, who just got back from nationals, Weber State, who's always a good right. program, and Boise, Montana Tech, a lot of other schools like that. So our schedule is going to be just as tough and a little stronger there. So we're set up in a perfect situation where we learn from what wasn't working and what was working last year, and go into it, win some more games, and we'll be looking at we could look at an auto bid in the top 2 to a good regional spot, and I definitely think we could make regionals there. As far as our D3 team, they're going to play kind of a D2, D3 schedule. A lot of California schools, New Mexico, Northern Arizona's D3 team, and they're the same. We paid their dues last year, so they'd get through that first year, right. Even though the team ended up not forming 100%. But that's another team. Based on the players that we're moving from our last season's team down there, the players that we're getting coming in, that's going to be a good D3 team, and I think they can make their D2 tournament as well.
So plans this year are to hopefully get into that national tournament bid at any point.
Yeah, the team we had this year could have made our regional tournament.
Right.
If we could have picked off a few wins there that were really close games that we let slip out of our hands at the last points of the game, and that's been a regular conversation with a lot of our guys during our exit interviews, where I think we really underachieved compared to what we really had. So they had an eye opener of what the season was like at the end after they looked back on it, going, we really had a better team than what happened. Unfortunately, we had a lot of injuries, which affected a lot of things. Anything could happen. A lot of things have to go right. To make that. It's very difficult. You're dealing with college players where anything could happen, as far as just how guys feel or how things happen in games. But I honestly think we weren't far off last year. We played some really close games against NAU D2. Anything could happen. But I expect that we could push definitely for a regional and try and make nationals.
So a lot of people I've talked to, when they now realize that GCU has hockey, that the obvious question is, do they have a rink? So you guys are still at Peoria, right, mm-hmm. for the most part, and happy over there with everything that's going on? Yeah, Peoria's been great. They've been helping us out a ton. Like I said, we added practice ice, which is always good to know that you can do that. We didn't just add 3 days a week for our team 1. We added 2 days of hour and a half each day of team 2. We have 2 days a week of an hour and a half each day for our women's team. So there's a huge chunk of ice time there in the week that we've purchased.
working on other things out there as far as a lot of advertisement going up out there. So there's there's going to be a lot of GCU in that building here next season, which would be really nice to see. At least it'll show that we have a presence there.
Right.
Yeah, they've been great to us. The next steps are, as this year gets going, is the program builds more momentum behind it, is discussing with our director as far as locker room stuff out there.
Right. So let's talk about the obvious part of it. With club sports, it's always talking about finances with GCU as well. But how are things going financially? You guys getting supported the way you want to, and things like that are happening for you?
Yeah, we get great support. The support is able to keep our dues down. We're right at $2,200 for our player dues. It covers all of our travel, covers all of the hotel rooms, dinners for the guys on the road, gloves, shells, bags, all of our game jerseys, practice jerseys, team apparel, and then all of our ice time as well. So as far as financing goes, we do a good job of making sure our budget is even split with the university.
Let's talk a little bit about, or actually I'll give you the chance to talk to the Lopes faithful. Obviously people know that the Havocs and the student support that the other programs get here. I saw that support firsthand at Gila River, was really impressed. So why don't you go ahead and speak to the Lopes faithful, tell them what they can expect from GCU hockey, both from the men's side and the women's side this year.
That's, hockey in general is a fun game to go watch. You get to go out there and get as loud as you want. You get to support your school that you go to, so there's a lot of passion there for student body fans. And you get to go down on the glass and bang on the glass while you're there. So whether it's at AZ Ice, Peoria, or at our Gila River games, it's a fun atmosphere, and we always have a great crowd no matter where we are, and it seems like no matter what time the game is. Yeah. We've played Sunday morning games, and we've had around 300, 350 attendance. We've had biggest we've had was against ASU's D2 club team out at AZ Ice when we were playing there. It was 600-700 people. Then of course the over 1,200 out at Gila River, and the guys love it. I mean, it's fun. You get to see GCU play against some universities that our NCAA sports don't necessarily get to play against. So,
well, Danny, as I see it, the state of the Lopes is in pretty good hands and moving forward, and I appreciate your time as always.
Yep, thank you.